Welcome to another episode of the No Limit Report. On the No Limit Report, I seek to give you 5 minutes of facts, 5 minutes of opinion, so that by the end of a 10-minute video, you are properly informed on the current events happening in the world around you. On today's episode, we are discussing the CHP, also known as the California Highway Patrol, evicting a group of homeless people from state-owned property over the Thanksgiving weekend. But before we get into this video, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and go in the comment section and type in the word No Limit Report. I guess it's more of a phrase, but either way, type in No Limit Report in the comment section. Now let's get into the video. Let's get into the facts. Members of a group called Reclaim and Rebuild Our Communities moved into vacant homes owned by Caltrans in the Sereno Area on November 25th. Now, they actually released a video basically explaining why they're moving into those properties and pleading with Governor Newsom to not violently evict them or arrest them. We're going to play that video for you right here.
Governor Newsom, this is to notify you that we, members of Reclaim and Rebuild Our Community, less than an hour ago have peacefully moved into several state-owned empty houses in Los Angeles on the now defunct 710 corridor.
Okay, so I want to stop it right here and acknowledge this. So the homes that they moved into were actually owned by Caltrans. Now Caltrans basically is a state-run organization that operates the highways, interstates, freeways in the state of California.
We are unhoused families that include children as young as 3 months old and seniors over 70 years old that are sheltering in place, that have been living in cars and encampments.
We ask that you, as governor of this great state, once again call Caltrans Director Tokes Omashakan and Caltrans District 7 Director John Belinsky, as well as the CHP, and direct them not to use violent evictions or arrests.
Okay, so right here I just want to point out specifically that they're not saying not to evict them, simply they are saying not to violently evict them and not to arrest them. Now I just want to make that clear and make that distinction now.
We ask that you respect the reclaiming of these homes and protect the families and their rights to shelter in place.
Now, members of the Reclaim and Rebuild Our Community group, they released that video November 25th. They moved in on the 25th and they were evicted the 26th, which happened to be, I believe, Thanksgiving. Caltrans was the organization that did call the CHP in order to have them removed, and the reason for having them removed was simply to be able to reboard up the houses, because Caltrans is in the process of selling those houses. They've been mandated by the state to sell those homes because they're no longer going to be building a freeway that that needs that land, and the state is supposed to generate around $500 million from the sale of those houses. I want to be clear that everything that I'm talking about pretty much has some facts and some merit to back it up, so I will leave the links to pretty much all the sources in the very bottom of my description for you to check out for yourself. Now, there has been a lot of videos released from people who attended the protest, as well as potentially more videos from members of the Reclaim and Rebuild Our Community group. Most of these videos can be found on Twitter, and again, I will link the Twitter to the Reclaim and Rebuild Our Community group in the description so that you can go ahead and check those people out as well. Now, after that, man, let's get into the conclusion of what happened. Let's get into the conclusion of the facts. On the 27th, the day after this all happened, Reclaim and Rebuild Our Community basically released a statement via their Twitter, basically with a list of demands. So that's basically their main goal here, is to get Caltrans to sell the property to the El Sereno Land Trust so that that property can then be used to house the homeless. Now, let's get into the opinion, man. Let's get into my opinion on these facts, all right? Yeah. The land trust idea has some merit to it. There was a group of mothers called Moms for Housing in Oakland, California, did a similar thing, went into, occupied a vacant property, got evicted, got national coverage. The city of Oakland then sold the property to a land trust, and now that the housing that they occupied is now available for housing the homeless. And I believe they have a full organization now looking to do similar aspects. I'm not sure, but you can research them. Moms for Housing. They did successfully accomplish what the Reclaim and Rebuild Your Community is attempting to do. Now, number two, my second opinion. Now, number two, man, about how I'm feeling. Both sides were wrong. First and foremost, the Reclaim and Rebuild Your Community, of course, they legally trespass on property. They illegally occupied property, so therefore they're wrong in that. And the CHP was also wrong about the tactics they used to evict the people. Now, I want to just go ahead and touch on this. The Reclaim and Rebuild Your Community, man, I actually applaud their civil disobedience. You know, in the video, they weren't entitled. They went in here and said, I know we're gonna be evicted, but we're just asking you to not do it violently, and we're also asking you to not arrest anyone. Which again, that's a completely reasonable circumstance, a completely reasonable list of demands in my opinion. They didn't say don't evict us, they didn't say do it. They said, hey, if you're gonna do it, man, just do it non-violently. You know, at least that's what I got from the video. And it's a form of civil disobedience. They didn't try to hide it, they didn't try to do anything. They wanted to make this a public case, which they really did. I mean, it's all over the local news, and it's all over you know, like local blog posts and things like that. So they did accomplish their mission of getting their voices heard. That original video, when I first saw it, had only like 500 views. That video is now at close to 30,000 views. So they did accomplish their mission and you know, performing an act of civil disobedience to get their voices heard. So I applaud the Reclaim and Rebuild Our Communities group for doing that. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, I ended up moving on to the opinions part before I even mention this. There were 62 arrests. Of those 62 arrests, 21 were of those people who were illegally occupying the spot. The other 41 were of the people who were just out there protesting. The CHP was ultra wrong. Out of the people arrested, only 21 of them were actually illegally occupying the spot, and the other 41 were protesters. And again, when they said in the video, who's next, but I mean another one, it just seemed as if, it seemed real dystopian-like to me. It just seemed like they were looking to arrest people, looking to exert their power. From everything that I saw on the internet, there wasn't really any violence against the CHP officers by the protesters. And so the arrest, in my opinion, to arrest 61 people in one night, that seems very un-American in my opinion. Nor does it seem justified. So the CHP, they also arrested people with a lot of violence. When you look in the videos, they would just try to grab people by the head and throwing them down and handcuffing them. And then with the other person who, again, was not hogtied, but had his hands handcuffed together and his legs handcuffed together, I don't know, because he was the person that was inside the house. Therefore, I don't know how he was behaving on the inside. So potentially he was warranted or not. However, I still don't like the way he was handcuffed and the way he was carried out. That's just my opinion. Homeless or not, that man was still an American citizen, and these CHP officers took an oath to protect and serve the American citizens, the American people, and I don't like the way they went about it. Again, evicting the people, I completely agree with. It's not their property to be in. It's the property of, again, in this case, the state government. But the way that the CHP went about it, and the fact that I still have not seen Governor Newsom or any people condemn the actions of the CHP officers, that means they're just following orders and they're just falling in line. To arrest 62 people in one day, most of which, 41 of the 62 people were just protesters, to me, there's something wrong with that. There's something very uneasy about that. If I had to grade this situation, Reclaim, Rebuild Our Community will get an A. They were very organized. They were very diligent in how they organized their members. You know, yes, they did get arrested and things like that, but they came out the next day with a list of demands for the governor. They had a strategic plan, and they got national attention. So they achieved their goal with their civil disobedience. CHP and the rest of the California government will get a huge F. They were way too violent. Their name in the public eye has dropped even more. This is the first episode of the No Limit Report. Make sure you leave a like in this video. Share this video if you found it insightful and you learned something. And go in the comment section and type in the word No Limit Report. Now, here is a message from today's video sponsors. Right now, having a stockpile of food is more critical than any time in modern history. With store shelves being cleared out at the slightest hint of a lockdown, you need to have some food stockpiled in your cabinet. Now, I personally recommend Backbacker's Pantry because everything has a vibration, including the food that you eat. Backbacker's Pantry is one of the only companies in the survival food space that offers vegan, gluten-free meals packaged up in BPA-free pouches. Cooking these meals are super easy. Boil 2 cups of water, pour it into the pouch, and in 15 to 20 minutes, you will have a fully rehydrated meal ready to go. To purchase Backbacker's Pantry and to support the No Limit Eddie channel, click the link in my description. There's going to be a link that says Backbacker's Pantry. You click that, it's going to take you to a site called Survival Frog. I am an affiliate for Survival Frog, so if you order anything on that website through my link, I will get a commission. So it's a great way to get some stuff that you and your family will need while also supporting a channel that you enjoy watching. So go ahead and click that link, purchase the Backbacker's Pantry food or anything else on Survival Frog through my link today and support my channel while also getting some awesome items.